Hello, my name is Jeff, and you're watching the Are You Keeping Up with the Commodore channel on YouTube. We're going to be taking a look at Epyx Toolkit Basic in the next few videos. I'm going to outline some of the features and things that will help you get started with the product. We're going to give you kind of the quick start, how to get in, how to create graphics and sprites, and how to start taking advantage of the extra capabilities built into the package. In particular, today we're going to take a look at the Sprite editor that's included with the disk. You can load that by inserting that disk and loading Sprite, 8, 1, and then running the product. Now, I apologize if production values are pretty much off the cuff today because we're just going to go ahead and record this video audio straight in together. So if you hear a few clicky sounds in the background, that's probably the very poor choice of joysticks that I'm using today. This is the Epyx 500XJ, the state-of-the-art for ergonomics back in the 1980s. Maybe not so much today. But if you hear that clicking sound, that's what you hear me moving around in the program here. So as you look at this Sprite editor, there are three basically essential areas that you're going to pay most attention to. The area where I've got my mouse pointer or joystick pointer moving right now, this is our sprite selection, or we should actually probably use the word shape selection area or preview area for our shapes. I can view 6 shapes at a time, but this area has the ability of containing 32 shapes in total. So all of the shapes are blank right now. That's why you're not seeing anything in this area. But we'll load a file here in a moment. We'll take a look at what this looks like and how to move around in here once you've got a few things created. Directly below that area is your color selection area. Now, right now, I'm set as a high-res sprite for shape number 0 that's flashing at us right now. And in high-res mode, I only get 2 colors for the sprite. I get a background color, which right now is white, and then the sprite color, which right now is black. Now, if I want to change these colors using just my joystick, what I'm going to do is move the pointer to the color. I'm going to click and hold the button here, and then shifting right and left, I can select a new color. So right now, what you see me doing is selecting a background color for my sprites. There we go. And I'll come over here. Let's go ahead and select a new sprite color. So I'm going to click and hold in the black, moving left and right again. I can pick a new color for my sprite that I'm going to create. So let's start with that light green there. The third section of the sprite editor that will be useful to you, of course, is the creation area. This big area here over to the right where I can basically click, move. I can drag lines. Again, I'm holding the button down here on the joystick, and you see that the sprite is actually showing itself above the flashing 0 on the other side of the screen as I work here. Now, if I need to change colors, or I need to delete some of these extra pixel colors that I have here on my square, there's a couple things I can do. I can use the joystick and just move over here, click onto the color one time that I want to start using again, come over here, and click on the colors. There's a little simpler way I could do it. Just using the keyboard, I can select the colors by their number on my keyboard. So in this case, I've only got 2 colors, my background color, my sprite color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the number 2 on the keyboard. That's going to shift us back to green. And now I can go back to drawing in green. Oh, I need to get rid of those extra pixels, so I'll just tap the 1 on the keyboard. Now clicking on the pixels, I can delete them. Going back to number 2 on the keyboard. Now I'm back in green, and I can finish the square that I'm using on the drawing on the screen. Now, My square feels a little off center in the sprite creation box, and I might want to correct that a little bit. And the easy way to do it, again, is using the keyboard and just using the cursor keys or shift cursor keys to move the sprite around until it's in the position that you want it, like so. So that is just some real basic, we're working with high resolution sprites or high res sprites. And what we can do now is, let's go over here and we'll leave that sprite in the system. We'll go over here to the one area here. I'm going to click on that. The one is flashing. My creation window is blank, so I've got a clean slate for the next sprite. But this time I'm going to go ahead and create a multicolor sprite. So what we're going to do is go up here to modes, click and hold. And while I'm holding the button down on the joystick, I'm going to select multi-mode. All right, so our first sprite is high res. It's still there. We can still go back and edit that sprite as a high res sprite. But now when I click on one, my color box has expanded to background color, sprite color, and then we've got the multicolors that we can use, the third color being red right now, the fourth color being green. Now, the Commodore has some limitations in multicolor mode. The first limitation being that when you select this mode, the actual pixels that we get are bigger. We get less of them. We've got to be a little more creative and maybe not as precise. The second limitation we get is that all of our multicolor sprites, we need to agree on these last two colors to what they're going to be. We need to pick some colors that are going to work for all of our multicolor sprites in this file. So let's go over here. We've already got a background that works here. So let's go here and I'm going to select, click, hold, left and right again to change the color. I'm going to pick a new color for the sprite. I'm going to come over here, click on the first multicolor option. And again, this is picking the color that all sprites will use for this position. And the fourth one here, or the second multicolor item, I'm going to go with, let's go with white. So black, white. So our background color, our primary sprite color, and then our two other colors for all of our multicolor sprites are black and white. So now we'll come over here and let's go ahead and draw. We'll go ahead and draw a great big square like so. And we'll come over here and we'll pick our black. And I apologize for the noise of the joystick in the background. And oops, I went off the edge there, so we'll come back and fix that in just a moment. Let's get that one I missed. There we go. And now I need to correct that one I painted black, so I'm just going to go and use the shortcut here. I'm going to tap the 4 key on my keyboard, selecting white, come down and select that. Let's go back to drawing here this time. We're going to use our primary sprite color, so that'll be number 2. And we'll drag this. Nope. Went over again. That's okay. We can come back and fix those when we're done. Let's go ahead and fill in the rest of this sprite. Joysticks weren't very precision drawing instruments, but they certainly were better than the Koala tablet back in the day. By the way, this package is compatible with the Koala pad, so if you don't feel like the joystick is providing you enough challenge, get out that old Koala pad, plug it in. You can use it with the Epyx Toolkit. All right, let's go back and fix some of our happy mistakes here. We're going to just select number 3 on the keyboard. That's going to flip us to that third color, which is black. I'm going to come down here and paint in the ones that I didn't mean to make a mistake with. Now, Let's say that as you're designing this, you decide that, well, these aren't really the colors that are going to work for me. I need to kind of rethink this a little bit. We can come over here to the color box. Even with our sprite already created, click and hold in the color and just drag until we find a color that's going to work for us better here. And the same thing with the other two, multicolor. Again, we've these other two colors. We need to kind of pick those colors that are going to agree with all of our sprite designs. There we go. All right, so you can store in this shape area or in this preview area, you can store 32 shapes. Now we're only seeing 6 at a time here, but we can select any of the shapes to display 6 at a time while we're working on them here. Come back to that idea here just in a moment, but keep that one bookmarked in your mind. Let's go over to the disk menu. Disk menu is where you're going to be able to load and save your sprites. I'm going to go ahead and save the sprites that we've been working on here. So let's go down with our joystick and click on Save. I need to give it a file name. We'll call this one lesson1.spr since these are sprites. Hit the Enter key. All right, and we're back to our sprites. So good idea, good rule of thumb if you're working on art for a little while and you haven't saved, go over to the disk menu, save. So if I go back here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save again, and it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite my original sprites. So I'm going to click on Save. Again, just type the name here, same as before, .spr, hit the Enter key. It's going to ask me, do I want to replace this file? Yes, I do. It's kind of a nice feature of the scratch and replace is built in. And we're back to our sprite editor. All right, well, I've got a pre-prepared batch of sprites that I'm going to load next, and we'll play around with some of the other features here of the sprite editor using those. So I'm going to click on the disk menu one more time. Come over here, select the file with my joystick, click on it, and click the word load. All right, and there certainly are plenty of sprites to work in here. Now, remember when I told you earlier that this preview window of 6 shapes, or sprite shapes, we could actually look at any 6 of 32 shapes available to us. And the way you do it to select a different shape in a position is just like picking a color. So I'm going to go over here to number 0, the first one, and I'm going to click and hold the button. Just like I'm picking a color, I'm going to shift left and right through my shapes. You're seeing the shapes you can already see on screen right now. And I'm going to keep going and going. There's a high-res sprite right in the middle of all the multicolor sprites. And we'll stop here at, let's see, 15 is blank, so we'll stop here at 14. And we can do the same thing with any of these boxes. We can just click, hold, and then move left and right to select a different shape to work on in that box. We can even load the same number if we want to. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load the next blank area, which will be number 15 in this case. And let's take a look at another function that is extremely useful when you're working with sprites. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up here. You see that there's two colors appearing here in this box. It's telling us that this position number 15 is in high-res mode. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up here to modes, click, hold, and I'm going to select multi-mode for position number 15 shape. And there we go. It's flipped over to a multi-mode sprite. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number 14 and I'm going to make a copy of it over to number 15. So what we're going to do here is go over here to special, clicking and holding. I'm going to choose the word copy. And now at the top it says copy from shape number and it has the 0. Again, using the left and right, I'm going to select which shape I want to copy from. In this case, 14. And click the joystick button. And boom, 14 and 15 have the exact same shape. So now I can come down here. Let's go ahead and pick a different sprite color here to make them really different, clicking and holding in the color. We'll make this one red, and I think we'll make some differences in this sprite to make it look just a little bit different, maybe like an enemy player that's a little different on the screen. And now we've got two sprites for our game. And once again, when I'm finished, go over to disk, make sure you save your file, give it the same file name, and it will ask you if you want to replace it. This outlines most of the features that are going to be the common features that you're going to use with the sprite editor. You'll note when I went over to copy in the special area here, there were some additional commands that I could use. Things like clear a single sprite, or if I click on this, it's going to clear this number 15. I could clear the entire set of shapes. Got to be careful with that one. I could do some scrolling. I could also do some flipping to flip the sprite around. So if I wanted to flip this horizontally, kind of hard to tell on this sprite that it actually flipped. Or vertically to turn that sprite around. All right, so this concludes most of the important features about the Epyx Sprite Editor. Take the time to poke around in here a little bit, do some art, do some sprite art, and get ready for the next video in this series where we take our sprite art and work it into the Epyx Toolkit basic program itself. Until then, happy drawing, and we'll see you in the next video.